So the last property we need to learn is the negative property. And this is when you have a negative exponent. And we're not allowed to have negative exponents, so we do need to move that exponent so that it's not negative anymore. And a trick we use is cross the line and change the sign. Okay, and what we mean by that is, for example, we have this x to the negative n. There's really a fraction here. Okay, we just never write it, so it's really over 1. Okay, and in order to change this exponent to a negative, we're going to cross the line, so cross this fraction line, bring it to the bottom, and that will change the sign of the exponent. Okay, so for example, if this is our fraction line, we're going to now move this x to the negative n to the bottom. And once we do that, it turns the exponent positive. It changes the sign. So cross the line, change the sign. Since this is a fraction, we do need something on top for a placeholder, and we just put a 1 there. Okay, so we're not allowed to have negatives as exponents, so we do need to move it to the other side of the fraction bar to change it to a positive. So let's try a couple of example problems here. The first one has a negative exponent. Okay, it's really over 1. It's already a fraction. So our new fraction, we're going to move this 17 to the negative 1 to the bottom, and that will change that exponent positive. So now once it's on bottom, it's 17 to the 1, and it's a positive. We do need a placeholder on top, and we'll use 1 as our placeholder. If we look at the second example, this whole fraction is to a negative exponent. Okay, so this whole fraction has an exponent of a negative 2. So our new fraction, we're going to have to flip both of these because they're both to the exponent of negative 2. Okay, so they both have a negative exponent, which means we're going to bring the 3 to now the top, and we'll move the 4 to the bottom. Because we moved both, this whole fraction now switches the sign of the exponent to a positive. Okay, the third example, a lot of people get this one mixed up because they think that this 24 is attached to this x. Okay, they're actually two separate things, and this 24 has an exponent, and it's really a 1. We just never write it. Okay, so this really has an exponent of 1, and it's positive. So since this already has a positive exponent, that will stay. We're only going to move the things that have negative exponents. Okay, so again, this is sort of like a fraction. Our new answer will be a fraction. This 24 can stay on top because it already has a positive exponent. So don't move things that have positive exponents. Since this x has a negative exponent, we'll move this to the bottom. And once it's moved to the bottom, that 3 becomes positive. Okay, same thing with the next example. Some of these are negative, some of these are positive. So our new fraction, everything positive will stay. Okay, it's really on top right now, so we'll keep it on top. But this y will have to move to the bottom in order to make it positive. Okay, so keep the positives, move the negatives. Next one, same type of thing. So our new fraction, this a to the third is already positive, so we'll go ahead and leave that. This b has a negative, so we'll move it to the top, and that will make it positive. As long as we cross the line, we can change the sign. So we're crossing this fraction line to the top. That means we can change that exponent to a positive 2. Okay, so this is your final answer. It's not really a fraction anymore. Okay, the next problem, these both have negative exponents, so we're going to have to move the d to the top to make it positive, and we're going to have to move the c to the bottom to make that positive. So again, we'll move the d to the top, so that'll be a d to the positive 5, and we'll move the c to the bottom, making that c to the positive 4. Okay, so once you move the negative, it does become positive. Last one here, this n to the third can stay on bottom. because it's positive, so we leave everything the way it is if it's positive. But if it's negative, that's when we'll move it to the other side of the fraction bar. And now everything's positive.